And it has an asymptote, a vertical asymptote at x equals negative 2. Remember, if you looked at the original, that what's ever added or subtracted would be the horizontal asymptote, and the vertical asymptote is just that flip-flopped. X equals negative 2. And the next one, use log rules to solve problems including expanding and condensing. Okay, that has to do with using the properties. Yes, ma'am. Absolutely. That has to do with using the properties. So, for example, here's an example of a problem that might be asked to expand. First off, these are all multiplied together. So that means I can change it to where I'm adding them all. That's the natural log of 6 plus the natural log of x squared plus the natural log of y. Then you have this power, which can be brought out in front. And just make sure a natural log of 6 is not something that we could solve, which it's not. And then that's it. Condensing. So to condense, they were shrinking it. That's what that's talking about. So remember, when you have something that's subtracted, you can change it to division. $60 divided by 4 is 15. And then you have two logs that are added, so you can multiply those. And that would be 15 times x. That's all we could do with it. Use tables to determine information about a log graph. Thank you. Okay, so this one, by the way, also comes from, it's on page 514, the table that comes from the homework. If you want to fill that out as we go over it. So you'll be given a table of information and asked some things about it. Like on this one, we've got domain, range, and horizontal asymptote for f of x. And then it also asks us for inverse f of x, the domain, the range, and the vertical asymptote. So we'll start with domain and range and horizontal asymptote of f of x. F of x is what's depicted here in this picture. Can we tell what the horizontal asymptote is going to be? Yeah, what is it? Yeah, you can get it either from here, notice, added or subtracted on the end, or you can see as x approaches negative infinity, y is getting closer and closer to negative 3. That's a horizontal asymptote. So y equals negative 3. You have to have the y equals there. Domain for any exponential is always negative infinity to infinity. Then are all these numbers on f of x, these numbers right here, they above, they're bigger than negative 3, or are they smaller than negative 3? They're bigger. So that means we go from negative 3 to infinity. This is page 514, by the way, if you're trying to fill it in. Okay, so what do you do with the domain and the range for the inverse? Yeah, you just flip-flop them. So if the range was negative 3 to infinity, then the domain is negative 3 to infinity. The domain was negative infinity to infinity, then the range is negative infinity to infinity. It's just those two flip-flops. And then what's the vertical asymptote? Yeah, it's just the same thing that's over here, only it's x. And we just did this part. Domain and range of log functions. Just remember the domain, the range is always negative infinity to infinity for a log function. The domain you'll have to figure out a little bit, but the range is always that. Yeah, that's it. So there's a little review. Go through and look at anything else you need to.